So in today's video, I want to share with you a gut instinct feeling I had about not going on a trip and how listening to that gut instinct, even though it's something I've never done, how it actually led me to God opening a door for me to get a new job, a job I've been praying for. So if you're in that place, you ever have a feeling about something, I want to encourage you to listen to that feeling because it could be God wanting to open a new door for you. So definitely watch this video and be encouraged. So like I said, this is going to be the first in a faith series that I'm doing, and maybe it's going to be like Faith Fridays or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to be sharing stories out of my own life. My next video is going to be about a stolen laptop, and that was a really interesting story, and I definitely encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on that. Hola, I'm Lindsay, and I'm a Tennessee girl who has lived abroad in Spain and Mexico teaching English. I currently live in Hollywood, Florida, near Miami, and work as a freelancer on Upwork, managing YouTube channels. I love to share stories about my life experiences, travels, freelancing, and faith. Don't forget to subscribe to follow along on all my adventures. You never know what you might learn along the way. So I'm going to start this story 10 years ago, and really in 2013 it was really when I had my spiritual awakening and just like started to, listen to God's voice in my life. I wanted to go back to church, but it all started when I was living in Mexico in 2013. So I'm going to link that video above. I think it's over here. I always get that mixed up. But anyway, I definitely recommend going back to watch that video to kind of see the foundation that I'm laying for this faith series. But basically part of it, in 2013, I was teaching in Mexico, and some things happened there that ultimately led me to quit that job early, move back to Florida, South Florida in 2013. And at that time, I started going back to church. I was 28 at the time. And in 2013, when I moved back, I had to look for a job. So at that time, I was an ESL teacher, and I started teaching at different language schools in Fort Lauderdale, even down to South Beach. And I think in 2013, I had over 7 different jobs. I was even a secret shopper at one time. And the last job I had was I got in November of 2013. It was a job with the Florida State University doing a reading program for the public schools in Broward County. So Broward County is the county where Fort Lauderdale is located. It's the county above Miami-Dade County. At that time, it was a good paying job. It was part-time, though. It didn't have any benefits. And when I took that job, I told them one of the important things for me was to be able to work closer to Hollywood, which is the city I was living in at the time. And because all the other jobs I had, some were way down in South Beach and all over Miami. I've worked all over, down to Coral Gables and different locations. And I really just wanted to work somewhere in Hollywood or nearby, or downtown Fort Lauderdale is not too far away. So they said, oh yeah, no problem. But when I end up going to get the job, they end up placing me in Coral Springs, which is on the exact opposite side of the county as where I live. So it's about 30-45 minutes depending on traffic. So I was actually kind of disappointed by that because I was expecting to be placed at a school closer to my house. And on top of that, it didn't have benefits, which I knew it didn't have benefits. And I had just been denied health insurance at that time, around this time, private insurance. So I was also kind of, unhappy about that. But I took the job because at least I didn't have to drive to South Beach or something like that. I took the job and I just started working. And I told them in the interview that I already had scheduled a trip with 2 of my friends, one other girl and then another girl and her family, her husband and her 2 kids. We were all going, all 6 of us, to Ecuador in February. So when I took this job, I already prearranged 2 weeks off in February, and they were totally fine with that. They would have someone to cover that. So I took the job knowing that in advance, and I felt, okay, everything is good. I have this job. It pays a little bit more than other jobs I had. And going into New Year, I really wasn't necessarily looking for another job at that time. I was really, just thinking about this trip, and that's pretty much all that was on my mind. So this trip to Ecuador, I have been planning with these 2 friends for maybe 3 or 4 months or something around there. I think around Thanksgiving we started talking about it and, planning it. And I was excited. I had never been to Ecuador before. I really hadn't been to South America, I don't think, at that time. And, I was going with 2 of my close friends. They were friends from, not necessarily from church, well, one of them was, and another one of her friends and her family. And I thought, okay, well, I'll be staying with her family, and, I'll have authentic, local type person experience, which I was excited about it. But I'll be honest, like in the back of my head, I was slightly concerned because if you've ever traveled with friends, or I mean, if you've traveled a lot, you know that certain people are good to travel with, and other people are probably, not exactly the best travel partners. Now, between these two friends, one friend, she's really quiet and calm, and I've never traveled with her, but I just know her personality. I feel like she's pretty easygoing. My other friend, she's sweet and kind and caring, but at the same time, I feel like she likes things done a certain way. And I think, just hanging out at her house every now and then is fine. But I was a little concerned about spending 2 weeks with her and her family. I don't know. I had a bit of an uneasy feeling about it. Now, additionally, at this time, I had been working a lot of different jobs, and I really didn't have a lot of money saved up. I had some airline credit I could use for the flight, so I wouldn't have to pay for the flight. But besides that, I just did not have a lot of cash in the bank for emergency situations, or even really for traveling. Deep down, I knew, in my spirit, that I shouldn't be spending that money traveling. I should probably be saving it, and really, I didn't feel like it was the right time to take a trip. I really needed to be working. I didn't really need to be traveling. And if you've ever been in a pinch financially, you just know, you really shouldn't be going out a lot, or you shouldn't be going to the movies, or you shouldn't be spending a lot of money on things necessarily. You should probably be saving that money. So deep down, I thought to myself, you know what? This is really not a good time to take a trip abroad. And additionally, I was concerned because if I wanted to get a hotel, or if I didn't feel comfortable at her house, or if I wanted to do something else, I really didn't have that extra money to go and do that. I mean, I could put on a credit card. I really don't want to do that either. So I had some concerns, some internal red flags going off that I probably should have thought about in advance, but I didn't. So as it was getting closer and closer to the day of the trip, the week before, or the week leading up to the trip, I remember I was just having a really hard time sleeping. At night, I couldn't sleep at all, or just not really well at all. And I just was really tired every day, and I had to pack and do all these things. And I could really tell, I was ignoring this gut feeling. I knew I should be using this time of this 2-week trip. Really, I needed to be using it to be looking for a full-time job with benefits and just get me out of this part-time job rut, and I wanted to get health insurance. I just wanted to have a job with full benefits and just start working and make money. I was at the time of my life where I just wanted to work and save up money. But meanwhile, the day before, I was packing and getting everything together, and I was almost ready, but I remember that my friend told me that she wanted me to bring special gifts for her sister and her parents, and it was going to be Valentine's Day, so I was going to bring them some chocolate as well. And I remembered, I was okay, I'm going to go Saturday morning, the day of the flight. I was going to fly that afternoon, I think, or 2 or 4, something like that, or maybe 5. So I had time in the morning to go to the store, so I went to Publix, and I bought some chocolate, maybe a couple boxes of chocolate. I went to Bath & Body Works, and I bought different lotions and sprays and different things like that she said her sister would like. So I bought all that stuff on Saturday morning. I packed up most of my stuff Friday. Saturday morning, I went to Publix and Bath & Body Works, and when I got back home, my brother, he was there living with me at the time, and I put all my stuff on the kitchen table, and I went back to my room just to kind of gather some things together, and then I think I was going to bring my suitcases in and then pack the rest of my stuff. But meanwhile, while I was back in my room, my brother had gone into the kitchen, and he started opening the box of chocolates and eating the chocolate out of the box. So when I came back into the kitchen and I saw him eating the box of chocolates, mind you, at this time I was really tired from packing and not sleeping very good all week, and when I saw him eating the chocolates, which I planned to bring to my friend's parents, and I knew she really wanted me to bring nice gifts for them, when I saw him eating that chocolate that I had gone to the store that morning, even though I didn't feel like going, and I saw him eating that chocolate, I just got so mad. I was like, what are you doing? That's a gift for my friend. I was so mad. Normally I try and be calm and even tone, but there are moments, and I'm sure everybody has them occasionally, where it's just not the right timing. So I ran back to my room, and I was so mad. I don't even, probably if I wasn't tired, I wouldn't have gotten that mad about it, but I just knew that I was trying to make everything perfect for this trip, and then I feel that one little thing just blew it. I don't know if I was yelling. I was like, that was supposed to be for my friend's parents. And so like my brother came back in the room and he was like, what? He was like, what's going on here? Like, what are you so mad about? You know, he's like, I'll go buy more chocolates. Like, what's the big deal? And then I kind of like told him everything about this trip and how I really felt like I shouldn't be going, and I really just didn't want to go, and I had needed to do other things instead. And he was like, you know what, just cancel it. Just tell him you're not coming. And I was like, how can I cancel it? Like, I felt like they might give me, you know, like, not a guilt trip about it, but be mad about it, you know. And they're like my probably two closest friends at that time. And I was like, I can't call them. Like, they're gonna get mad. Like, I know they're already at the airport or on their way to the airport right now. But I was like, you know what? Like, I probably shouldn't go this trip. I should probably just stay here. You're right. And as I was thinking about it, I'm pretty sure my friend called me. Like, I don't remember calling them. I think she did call me and was like, hey, Lindsey, where are you? I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to make it to this trip today. So I had to explain to her, you know, it just didn't feel like the right time. And I was really stressed out about things. And I just was going to cancel my trip. And it was probably like 2 hours before the flight took off that I decided to cancel this trip. So they just had to accept it. They were at the airport already. They were already at the gate. They were like, well, we really want you to come, but, you know, if you feel like you should come or need to cancel, like, that's totally fine. And after that, like, after I hung up and, like, canceled the flight, like, I had such an overwhelming feeling of peace come over me, just like, and after not sleeping for days, I'm pretty sure after that, like, I probably slept like a baby, or at least slept better, like, just so much more relaxed about things. But then I think like Sunday or Monday, I was like, hey, I have 2 weeks off. I should probably be spending this time looking for a job. Like, I didn't want to tell my current job I, you know, didn't end up going on that trip. I was like, no, I'm going to use this 2 weeks like I should and look for a better job. But I remember that Monday or Tuesday of that 2-week vacation, I remember like praying about it. I remember saying to God, you know, I was like, God, you know, I've been looking for good jobs like all this past year. I planted so many seeds. I've made so many connections. Like, I just want you to have someone to reach out to me during this time and, you know, have a job ready for me to go. You know, like, I was just at that point, I was just kind of like fed up of like doing. And I just like, God, I'm just going to trust you to bring that person to me who has a job for me. So what did I do the rest of the week? I'm pretty sure that I think I went to the beach most of the time. I don't even know if I even browsed jobs or resumes or anything. I just remember I'm like, hey, I'm just going to put it in God's hands and not worry about it. Now, I want to say that this time, like, for the average person, or if you're not really Christian or a believer or a praying type person, it might not make sense at all in this situation to you, but the whole year prior to that, it's been about a year since I had this like spiritual awakening, and I had been seeking the Lord more and praying and just like, you know, pushing in and just really seeking God for direction in my life. And so at that time, I was at a place where I could just say, Lord, you know, I trust you to provide for me. And in this situation, I know I could run all over the city looking for new jobs or sending out resumes, but I know that you have a job for me already lined up. And during this time, I know that you're going to bring it to me. Like, I just knew in my heart that the Lord was going to bring me that job. So I had this vacation for about 2 weeks. I don't know if it was at the end of the first week or at the beginning of the second week. I don't really exactly remember, but I remember that I got a text message or like a Facebook message from a friend, a teacher friend I had worked with the summer before in California. In the summer of 2012, I had worked in California at a summer camp, and he sent me a message. He was like, hey, Lindsey, he's like, do you still live like in the South Florida, Miami area? Because I moved to South Florida, and I can't remember where he moved from, maybe Georgia. He moved to South Florida, and he was working at a private school in Miami. And he messaged me and he was like, hey, we need a new ESL teacher at our school. And when I saw the name of the school, I had actually applied to this school like 4 years before, and I didn't hear back. But at that time, I wasn't a licensed teacher, and I had got my master's completed. So probably they just like threw my resume away or didn't pay attention to it. But when I saw that message right away, I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I said. Like, God was going to have someone reach out to me with a job. And when I saw the school, I like almost laughed because I had already applied to that school like on my own and it didn't work out. But like this guy messaged me and he wanted me to contact his director or the chairperson or over the ESL department and set up an interview, which I was totally able to do because I was there and it actually was pretty close to my house, so I was able to like arrange all of that. And had I been on the trip, like I probably could have arranged it when I got back, but that old saying like strike while the iron's hot. Like I think like right when you hear about something, like go ahead and get the ball rolling, because let's say if I had come back a week later, interviewed a week later, like who knows how many other people could have interviewed in that meantime and maybe got the job over me. So I immediately contacted them, went in the interview. I can't remember exactly how long after it was. It might be at the end of that week or at the beginning of the next week. And they like hired me right on the spot, which they never do that. They usually always have the candidate come back and have a practice class with the kids, but they hired me right on the spot that day. And I was like super happy, full benefits, close to my house, like a really great schedule. It was at a private Jewish school. So you get every Friday, you get off at like 2 p.m. Every Friday. And we had a lot of holidays for the Jewish holidays. And it was just like a really, it was like almost funny because I remember like I tried on my own like years before to get a job there and it didn't happen. And then finally, like with God's help and this other person, like it just worked out seamlessly. And another funny thing about that interview, like I had my private insurance policy canceled basically in November, and if I didn't find another insurance, I think I would have to pay a fine or something like that. This was back when Obamacare was first getting started and you had to get an insurance policy or something like that, or you get like a fine. And I remember I had to find some insurance before like April 1st for some reason. Maybe that was the deadline. I don't really know. But I remember that my health insurance from the school like went into effect on April 1st. So I really do believe that only like God could have orchestrated that plan for me, because I had tried on my own before to get a job at the school and it didn't work out. And not only did he get a job for me at the school, he got it during the time frame I asked him in those 2-week period that I really need to get that job. And it was just like, and it was easy. Like I just had to show up. I didn't even have to do the practice teaching lesson. I got the health insurance, and it was one of the best jobs I've had in South Florida, probably the best job I had. That job was a real blessing to me at that school, and I made a lot of good friends there. And it was just like an amazing time in my life. But had I not trust my gut instinct to not take that trip, I really don't know if I would have gotten the job at the school or not. So long story short, if you have a gut feeling about something, or if you have a nagging feeling that maybe you shouldn't be doing something, or maybe you should be doing something else, it could be God trying to tell you, hey, go this direction. I have something better for you. In the natural, it doesn't make sense, but in the spiritual, it's God like paving the way for you. And if you don't believe in that, or that doesn't make any sense to you, I'm going to be making more videos about it. But I just, you can just pray, God, show me what I'm missing out on. Like, show me what you have for me. Show me the purpose you have for my life. Like, that's what I started doing. That's what I'm continuing to do. I've had some ups and downs with that, I have to admit. But I'm definitely on the up these days, like getting closer to that point. But anyway, I hope you find this video encouraging. Definitely listen to the gut instinct in you. If you have like a hankering about something, don't ignore it. Ask God about it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be making more videos just about, just really cool experiences I've had over the last several years as I have pursued God more in my life and just ask Him to direct my life versus me trying to live my life, and it just, it wasn't what I was hoping it would be. But the more I trust God, the more just supernatural doors open. So anyway, if you haven't seen my video about my testimony of my supernatural experience in Mexico, I'm going to link that down below and above. And I really hope this video blessed you. My next video, I'm probably going to do the one on the stolen laptop. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on that. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.